Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is a grey and rainy day in Hawaii, so I figured why not sit down and film another YouTube video. Today's video is going to be a little different than the other videos on my channel. It is going to be a Q&A about living in Hawaii. For those of you who don't know, I was born and raised in Hawaii, and I've been here for the first 17 years of my life before moving to Scotland. And yes, I know a lot of you will wonder, why on earth did you leave a tropical island paradise for Scotland? And I might make a video on that later on, but today's video is going to be a Q&A about living in Hawaii. I've collected a list of questions people have asked me about living in Hawaii, and I will try my best to answer them today. So I've got the questions on my phone here, and on a completely unrelated note, look at how amazing this phone case is. I think it says a lot about me that I could actually spend a very long time just playing with this. It's just so sparkly. Anyways, I've got the questions here, so let's dive right into it. The first question is, what is the correct way to pronounce Hawaii, and what are some other fun Hawaiian words? Now, this is actually a really good question. If you look at the word Hawaii, you will see that it is H-A-W-A-I and a very funny looking backwards apostrophe I. That backwards apostrophe is called an okina, and the best way I could describe it is a glottal stop. So when you see that word Hawaii, there is a little gap between the two I's. So for example, I pronounce Hawaii as Hawaii, but the proper pronunciation of Hawaii is Hawai'i. And you'll probably only hear that pronunciation if we're singing our state anthem, which is Hawai'i Pono'i. So if you wanted to be really correct and say Hawaii in the Hawaiian language, you would say Hawaii. Most locals tend to say Hawaii, but we especially do not like to hear Hawaii. That kind of drives us a little bit crazy, although I know that some people just don't know about it, so we're happy to educate. As for fun Hawaiian words, I have to say that my favorite Hawaiian word is the name of our state fish. Yes, we actually have a state fish, and that fish's name is Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Apua'a. You might have heard at the end that there is a a sound, so there is an okina at the end there. And this Hawaiian name basically translates to the fish with a snout like a pig. And if you look at a picture of a Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Apua'a, you can see that it does actually have a very piggish snout. I don't know if fish technically have snouts, but there is a slight resemblance there. Now, obviously, if we called this fish by its full name, we might be there for quite some time, so we tend to call him Humu. So yes, if anything, you can take away from this video that Hawaii has a state fish and he has a very long name. I've always wondered if he was edible, but something tells me that you're not allowed to eat the state fish. Let me know if you have the answer to that. The second question is everything super expensive? Yes, everything is super expensive, and I mean absolutely everything. Rent is more expensive, electricity is more expensive, the cost of living is outrageous, and groceries are very expensive. The reason for that is we basically can't grow anything except pineapples and sunflowers. Correct me if I'm wrong and you are a Hawaii agriculturalist specialist, but as far as I'm aware, we have to import almost everything from the mainland. And the mainland is what we call the continental United States, and they are the ones who give us all of our food and resources. Without them, we would probably starve and die. So to answer your question, yes, everything is really expensive. Really expensive. The next question is, how many islands have you visited and which one is your favorite? That is a very good question, because a lot of people don't know that Hawaii is made up of 8 different islands, and I have written the names down here because I can never remember all 8. I always forget at least one. But the names of the Hawaiian islands are the Big Island, also known as Hawaii. There is Maui, Oahu, which is the island that I'm currently on. There is Kauai, Molokai, Lanai, ni'ihau, and koho'olawe. That's the one that I always mess up the pronunciation of and the one that I always forget. Poor koho'olawe, I'm sorry, I always seem to forget about you. But those are the 8 Hawaiian islands. Now the capital of Hawaii is called Honolulu, and Honolulu is located on Oahu. Honolulu is not located on the island of Hawaii, which is what we call the Big Island. I know, it's very confusing. This is why the locals refer to Hawaii as the Big Island, because it's the biggest, and Oahu tends to be called Hawaii because the capital is here. I know, it's very confusing. As for my favorite island, I am completely biased. I would have to say that Oahu is my favorite. It is the only one I've really known. I've been to the Big Island in the past, but I was really young, and I am looking to go there again when my partner comes to visit me in Hawaii. And by Hawaii, I mean Oahu. Right. The next question is, what is the best and worst thing about living in Hawaii? That is really difficult for me to answer. I'd have to say the all-time worst thing about living in Hawaii is what is called island fever. If you really think about it, Hawaii is a very, very small island. You are on a tiny island floating out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by thousands and thousands of miles of water. The closest bits of land are Japan, which is 6 hours this way, and California, which is 6 hours that way. So if you think about it, that is a very, very long way to travel. And again, the island is very small. So if you do have an ex that you don't want to run into, too bad, you're going to run into them. It is only a matter of time. The next question is, what is the food like in Hawaii? Now here I have to make a distinction between local food and Hawaiian food. When people say Hawaiian food, they refer to authentic ethnic Hawaiian food, food from that particular culture. When people refer to local food, they refer to this kind of melting pot cuisine that different ethnicities have brought when they came to Hawaii. So when it comes to my favorite Hawaiian food, I refer to local Hawaiian food. So these are mishmashes of different cultures such as saimin. If you're familiar with Japanese cuisine, you might know of a dish called ramen. And ramen is basically noodles in some hot broth soup. And saimin is the Hawaii local version of ramen noodles. We have our own specific island twist on that, and that is one of my favorite cuisines. We also have dishes such as loco moco, Hawaiian beef stew, poke bowls, which I know have become really popular on the mainland lately. We had it first, we are pioneering the food industry, so suck it. As for my favorite authentic Hawaiian dish, I would say that it is by far a dish called Kalua pig. Now, when you think of Hawaii, you might think of those hula dancers and leis and luau's, which is basically a big feast. So when people have a luau, what they tend to do is get an entire pig, you dig a pit to roast it underground, you cover it in taro leaves and you leave it for hours and hours until the skin and the meat is absolutely falling off the bones. It is so tender and so juicy and so delicious, and you mix it with cabbage and some other spices, and you have it with some rice or lomi lomi salmon, and it's really, really yummy. I also have to give an honorable mention to haupia pie, which is coconut pie, and on the other hand, for local Hawaiian favorites, we have the malasada. This is a Portuguese dessert that we have here. It is basically a donut. It is crisp on the outside and fluffy on the inside, just like this warm cloud that's dusted in sugar and happiness and joy. And honestly, it is probably what I miss the most when I am not here. Now that is the end of today's Q&A. I hope you found it informational. If you have any more questions about Hawaii, please leave them in the comments below, as I really had fun filming this and I would love to answer more questions. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And in the comments below, tell me something about where you live that I might not know about. Thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day.